All right, so we're going to start seated and we're going to chant Shiva Mantra today. I have the harmonium out, so I like to go, excuse me, I like to chant 3 rounds when the harmonium is there because the element of sound really helps us to be present. It really helps the body and the mind and the heart, especially when we're singing and chanting with a sense of like I really mean it. So we bring all of those aspects of ourselves together through the chant, and it becomes much more powerful. And I've been reading a lot of research on how sound does transform us physically to the spiritual level. So today, let yourself, especially when you're home, you can do whatever you want when you're home. You can, if you don't know it, but you know the melody, you can just chant ah, like the whole thing with just an open mouth. And and that I'm going to actually encourage if you've never done that before and you kind of know the melody. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave, just open your mouth and just go for it. You can even sit and just chant Om the whole time while I'm chanting, and then we can kind of like come together that way. Um, so that's kind of why it's nice to be able to practice from home. People don't know how often you sigh, how often you anything, right? So just let yourself feel that comfort. So let's start by simply closing the eyes. By watching the breath. We're going to change the place we normally connect our breath with. So normally I encourage watch the belly, breathe into the belly. We're going to change our visualization to the sacrum. So go to the tailbone and right in that region as you gently breathe in without needing to really push it right now. As you gently breathe in, feel the air entering through the nostrils and going down to the sacrum. And as you breathe out from the sacrum and out through the nostrils. Now notice the spine. See if it can get a little longer and a little higher. So maybe you need to bring the chin in slightly and then send the crown of the head skyward. Still keeping the attention on the flow of breath that is entering through the nostrils, sinking down into the sacrum, and then moving out through the nostrils and back into the sacrum. And let yourself sense now the energy that is riding the breath. The breath is the vehicle so that prana has a way to get in through your body through the element of the ether. So we're working with space, we're working with our environment. And we're energizing the body and the mind and the heart. Now begin to develop a deeper breath. So maybe you shift into that victorious breath, or maybe you just, keep the throat as it is and start to inhale and exhale a little bit more strongly, a little longer breath. even deeper. So maybe that visualization becomes stronger. We're going to shift into Shiva mantra now and bring that meaning and that feeling and that physical action into our practice today. So remembering the meaning, I bow to the presence of the divine within, our true and highest teacher that lives in and around us as being, consciousness, and bliss. It is ever present and radiates peace, lighting the way to transformation. So just breathing a few more breaths here as you start to tune into the sound. Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right, let's move to our backs for a little bit. So when you're ready, lie all the way down and extend the legs forward and take the arms back. Lift the belly button upwards and feel the low back contract. And then relax the low back, drawing it down. Let's do this a few more times. So inhaling, lifting the belly button up, pointing the toes. And then exhale, actually bring the arms down. So as you bring arms down, also relax the low back. Inhale, take the arms back, point the toes, engage the thighs, lift the belly. Exhale, lower the back, lower the arms, relax the legs. Just a few more of these on your own. Coordinating breath and motion. One more, arms reaching back. And then we'll take the arms down and relax the low back. Let's step the left foot down onto the mat with the knee up towards the sky. Take the right leg upwards. So right leg as straight up as you can, left knee bent and planted, foot planted. And begin to move the right foot around in circles. Now, if this is a little too much of a strain, you need a little support, you can bring the hands to the right leg. And actually maybe just go ahead and do that. So we can just focus on opening the back of the leg. So pointing, flexing, circling the right foot. And then we're just going to hold the leg and kind of rock it a little bit forward and back. So letting ourselves control the leg with mostly the arms, right? Pull and relax, pull, relax. And then we're going to let the hands stay behind the thigh. Flex the foot and then bend the knee. And then we're going to straighten, we'll point the foot first and then straighten the leg. So you'll feel a little tightness because we haven't done much here. So bending the knee, flexing the foot, pointing the foot, and straightening the leg. And just take a few more of these. I want to see if today we can focus a little bit on opening the back of the leg. So starting off by giving that space a little attention will help us kind of set up the rest of the practice. So maybe one or two more. And before we go to the other side, I'm going to take the leg up and maybe flex the foot, just a couple breaths here. So not too much intensity quite yet. And let's bring the right ankle to the left thigh for reclining pigeon. Lift the left leg, hold the left leg, maybe behind thigh or shin or knee, flexing the right foot, drawing the leg in. And let's take deep breaths here. Now we're going to take some more breaths here. But we're going to focus on the first part of our mantra today, because we want to carry that meaning into the practice. So mentally, and maybe even sometimes verbally, you can say it, but let's go back to simply Om. So connecting to that essence of all of life that is connected through the vibration of God, or the vibration of the source of creation. So Om, I bow to the presence of the divine within. You can also say, I bow to the presence of God within, or a word that feels right to you to signify divinity, the source of creation. So let that continue to circulate in your heart and mind. Bring the left foot down, bring the right foot down. Take the left leg up towards the sky, holding left leg and moving the left foot. And if you want to keep circulating that phrase, you can do it in Sanskrit too. Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, still working with the foot, another breath or two. And then holding the back of the thigh, We'll flex the foot, bend the knee all the way so the foot lowers, point the foot, and then straighten the leg. So a few more of these at your pace, nice and slow. Maybe one or two more. And then we'll be meeting with that left leg risen. We'll flex the foot and just taking a couple deep breaths here. Bring the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Lift the right leg so we can hold it, keeping left foot flexed. And pulling in the right leg. We're here about a minute and a half, so focusing on that breath, maybe connecting the breath to the mantra or the chant, the phrase. Maybe 3 or 4 deep breaths. And we'll release the right foot, release the left. Take the legs forward again and take the arms back. And just a few more times like we did before, you'll take the arms back and lift the belly button. And then as you exhale, lower the arms, lower the low back at your own pace. All right, and then we'll go ahead and bring the arms down, plant the feet, just like we did before. This time we're going to bring the hands around the belly button and then slightly off to the side so you could feel your pelvic bone. And we're just going to take some activity of the pelvic floor and the inner girdle. They're working together, so we want to activate them and help with toning the digestive organs. It's help toning the girdle itself, which keeps everything in. So we're going to take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, begin to pull up on the pelvic floor and start to draw the belly in, really kind of firming it up too. So we're drawing it in, firming it up, and you can feel it with the hands. And then continue that activity of the muscles, but just breathe, continue to breathe. And we're going to just do this a few times. So maintaining all that activity. And then you can relax the muscles. Take a deep breath in again. Exhaling, pulling the pelvic floor, drawing the belly in. Like imagine like the inner surface of the, like underneath the skin, and then go deeper, deeper. So underneath the surface muscles, and breathing normally. This way during the practice you can engage these muscles without having to like think about it too hard. Relax the muscles one more time. Inhale, and then exhale and engage. And relax. Okay, stretch the arms back, the feet forward one more time. We're going to get off the back. So let's go ahead and find our way to seated. So you can bring the knees in first, maybe roll to the side, or maybe rock up. And just coming into seated for a moment, I'd like to take some motion here like our cat-cow, but from seated. So it's going to be more like a Kundalini camel posture. So bringing hands to the shins or to the front foot and shin, depending on how you have your legs. You can also have a half lotus going on. On the inhale, take the shoulders back and the head back. On the exhale, round the shoulders, bring the head down, send the spine back. So we're going to continue this with more force in the breath. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, collapsing in, but really activating the belly, maybe even the pelvic floor. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhale, exhale. Keep going. This sort of breath, the forceful breath, it is a yogic breath. It's a true full breath here that helps to really purify the breathing system and really open the lungs. It helps us break into a little bit of a sweat. I know for me, every time I go into it, I start to sweat a bit. So it's cleansing. A few more. And then we'll come to neutral spine, sitting up nice and tall. Just be here for a moment. Come back to the slower, deeper breath. Well, slower, not necessarily deeper. And then on the next inhale, reach the arms up. On the exhale, let's twist to the right. So we'll bring left hand to right knee, right hand behind. Get tall, turn, pressing into the hands. Now, what we did before with that activity of the pelvic floor and the belly, we're going to do that while we're twisting. So inhaling and then pulling up, drawing in, and still breathing deeply. I often bring these two parts in and say, pull up on the pelvic floor, draw the belly in. But even I'm catching myself not doing it the way that I used to. So I want to make sure that today we can really focus on that. And then we'll inhale, come to center. You can relax those inner muscles. And then on the next inhalation, reach the arms up. Exhale, turn to the left, right hand to left knee, left hand behind. Getting tall, feeling the length of the abdomen and the spine. And then exhaling, pressing into the hands to turn. And again, you can go back into that inner activation. Feeling that inhale. Exhale, activating, pulling up and drawing in as you breathe deep. And we'll inhale, come back to center. Let's take the legs out to a V formation. And let's allow ourselves to round the back and kind of collapse here. So bring the chin down to the chest. Take a moment first to just find a nice deep breath. And then little by little, walk the hands forward. And then walk the hands forward another step. And another step. And maybe you extend the arms all the way forward, or maybe you just keep them bent and give the upper body some support here. You can have the knees bent, feet flexed. You can move the feet a little bit more. Let the shoulders round. Maybe let the head go a little further and feel that little tug on the spine. We're here a little longer. Come back to our invocation. Om Namah Shivaya. We bow to the presence of the divine within and coordinate your breath with it. Do what feels right as you bring those two together. We're going to be here a little longer, so if you feel like you want to support the forehead, even though we're doing this rounding thing, feel free. Couple deep breaths. And then we'll slowly start to unroll as we walk the hands back. The head rises last. We're going to cross the ankles and switch over to downward facing dog. So we'll come forward onto the hands, the knees. Actually, before we go there, I want to work a little bit more opening up the rib cage. So let's turn the head and the hips to the left. And we can do this on the exhale. And then inhale, come to center. Exhale, hips and head to the right. And then inhaling, coming to center. So continue this. So we're making space in the rib cage, which means that we can breathe more deeply. And of course, you can feel the low back benefiting. coming to center into downward facing dog. Maybe stepping hands forward one step. First, roll over the toes. Taking the hips back. Maybe swaying the sacrum a little bit. And then let's come into that feeling of, focusing on the sacrum as we're breathing in through the nose to the sacrum, out from the sacrum through the nostrils. Next exhalation, step the feet forward. Let the big toes touch. Inhale, come up halfway, lengthening so the ankles are away from each other. Give some space there. Exhale, fold forward. A few more times doing this. Inhale, come up halfway, maybe the arms out to the sides. If it's a little challenging with the feet this way, you can position them so it feels more natural. Lowering, inhaling halfway up, lengthening. Exhale, releasing. So a few more of these, and then maybe you take the arms behind and experience what that's like if you come up halfway. Exhaling. Keep going. As you're doing this, engage the pelvic floor again. Firm up, draw in the belly. Folding one more time, and then we're going to bend the knees and come into Utkatasana, fierce posture. Knees press into each other. Lift the heart. And then let's take the arms out to the sides to reach them upwards. Again, keep the knees drawn into each other so you feel the inner thighs engaged. Hands together, thumbs in towards the chest. Twist to the right, bringing left elbow outside of the right knee. Pull the pelvic floor up. Draw the belly in. Turn the head to the right. Next inhalation, come up to standing and straighten the legs. Give them a chance to straighten up. And then we'll exhale, bend again. Draw the knees into each other, right elbow outside of the left knee or the upper arm outside of the thigh. Pulling in, drawing up, turning the head to the left. Next inhalation, come back up to standing. Again, straighten the legs. Take the arms back, maybe separate them, maybe keep them together. Engage the thighs. And then we'll exhale, bring the arms down alongside the body. Keep the palms forward. Separate the feet so their hips distance are a little wider. Put a soft bend in the knees. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Take them back. Draw them down. So again, soft bend in the knees. About 3 deep breaths here. Now, a couple more breaths, but bring your attention to the breath and the palms of the hands and see if you can connect the breath with the sensation of the hands. Okay, next inhalation, straighten the legs, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together, thumbs in towards the heart center. The feet are hip distance apart. Step the left foot back. to the back of the mat and come into a lunge. We'll start with the back heel lifted. I think I want to do a little bit of balancing today. So if typically in a forward fold you need blocks to be able to bring the hands down, hopefully you have some blocks around. You can just make sure they're towards the front of the mat. And so back heel is lifted, front knee is lunging. The next inhalation, take the arms and reach them upwards. So we're in a high lunge. As you exhale, take the hands forward and see if you can keep the arms lined up with the back. Take the arms forward. And we're going to pause here for a moment so we feel lots going on in the right hip. And then we'll inhale and lift the arms back up. The trunk follows. Step the left foot forward. We can bring the palms together, thumbs to the heart center. Next exhale, right foot goes back. And I think we're going to create some continuous movement out of this. So when you're ready, we'll inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, take the trunk and the arms forward. Again, see if you can keep them connected. Inhale, rise back up. And then exhale, hands come together, step up. So left foot back. You're going to find out how to coordinate your own breath to this. But usually we're going to be inhaling arms up, so at least try to get that one in. And then exhale, take the arms forward. And then inhale, rise. And on the transition, you might do it all in one exhale. So step forward, step back, and then inhale. So see if that works. And if that's not what's going to work, then you'll go a little slower. Arms reach up, exhaling forward, inhaling up, exhaling, transitioning. So let's continue at our own pace. And as you're going through this, keep the mind also on the sacrum with your breathing, on the activity of those inner muscles that we're focused on today. Finish up this last one with the right leg back, as we started with the left leg. And then once you've completed that, we'll be meeting and standing at the top of the mat with the palms together, big toes together. We'll find 3 focused breaths so that we're, again, our minds are attentive to the sacrum and the nostrils, that motion between. The energy flowing through, up and down the spine. And then we'll step the left foot to the back of the mat, or the right, doesn't matter which. What I want is just to come into a wide leg stance with the arms open so we can start moving into an extended triangle posture. Yeah, blocks still up front, because we might be needing those. I think we're going to move into a half moon today as well. So we have the arms to a T. Now pivot the right foot to face forward in the same direction as the right hand. Left toes face the side of the mat. Now just for a moment, keep moving the trunk a little bit. So goes right and left, right and left. So you're kind of just shifting through and experiencing the waist and the rib cage and feeling like your arm is a rope and there's a tug of war game going on. Pulling one way and then the other. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and let that right arm be pulled so that the trunk follows, keeping the arm risen for a moment, then lowering the right hand to the right leg, inhaling the left arm upwards so the arms are now creating one vertical line with each other, and the trunk is over the right leg, so the right foot and the head are lining up pretty much, turning to look up past the left hand. Take a breath here. We're going to let this left arm be a little bit more free. So bring the head to neutral and then begin to circle the left arm up and over and then behind. Up and over and then behind. So everything's staying as it is, but the left arm is circling around the shoulder. Now we're going to switch directions, so then we'll take it forward, up, and behind. Okay, then we'll take the left arm back up, look upwards again, past the left thumb. Pull up on the pelvic floor as we did before, firm into the belly, draw it in. Exhale, look down at the right foot, rise up to standing, arms come to a T. I want to do the other side before we go further. So now we'll pivot so that the left toes face the same direction as the left hand, right toes face the side of the mat. And first, a little bit of that tug of war motion, loosening up. You can feel it in the hips too, waist, rib cage. And then we'll let that left arm be pulled, trunk follows, lower the left hand down to the left leg, reach the right arm up. Creating that activation in the legs here, creating that long line between the hands. Head and foot line up. And then we'll look up towards the right hand for a moment if you haven't already. Bring the head to neutral and begin to circle the arm. It's about 5 circles both ways. Big motion. So when you're ready, switching directions. All right, so we'll keep that arm risen. And we'll look up again towards that right hand, engaging inner muscles. Exhale, look down at the left foot, rise up to standing. Arms come to a T, toes face the side of the mat. Let's take hands behind, interlace fingers, squeeze the shoulders back, and then we'll exhale, fold. I always like to take this after an extended triangle because such a good chest opener. So this is a great way to follow it. Folding, letting the head dangle loose maybe. Another breath or two. And then we'll inhale, rise up. That was one breath. And just turn the toes as we had them before for our extended triangle. So right side first, right foot forward, left toes face the side of the mat. Here we're going to move into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. So we'll bend the right knee like you're coming into warrior B. And then we'll start to lower the right hand down to the mat or maybe to a block. We can take the left hand to the hip just to set up the legs. Then begin to stand only on the right leg, so lifting that left foot up. Now for balance, we might look down to the mat, or if we're able, we can continue to let the head look out to the right in front. Okay, so then just checking in here. And you might have the fingers on the mat, or you might be able to have the palms all the way down on a surface. Then we'll see, can the left arm rise upwards? Can we find that vertical line with the arms again? Now we want to engage the left glute, thigh, and foot. So spread the toes on the left foot, and that'll help engage the whole leg. If you feel balanced, maybe little by little, you can start to move the head slightly to the left. Just kind of turning it so it's in the same position as the chest or closer to it. Now we're going to release, bring the left foot to the back of the mat, and rise up to warrior B. If you are using blocks, pick up your block. And then let's switch to the other side. I don't usually use a block for that one, but it was nice to be able to have my palm down instead of my fingers because I can't get my palm to the floor. So it's always nice to experiment. We're going to take the arms to a T. Now we have left toes facing same direction as the left hand, right toes facing the mat, side of the mat. Lunge into the left knee like you're in that warrior B. And begin to lower the left hand down to the surface below. Lift off the right leg and begin to straighten both legs if possible. Standing leg doesn't have to straighten, but if you can, you'll feel a nice release there. That right arm, we started with the hand to the hip. I forgot to get us there. So hopefully you figured that one out. And then if it feels right, maybe taking that right arm up, spreading the right toes. Even here, can you engage the pelvic floor? So easy to forget that. Another deep breath. And we'll start to come out of this. Step the right foot back, rise up. Whew. And right from here, let's release the arms down and step forward to the top of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, fold over the legs where we're going to be just for a few moments here, breathing deeply. And we'll take one vinyasa here. So bring the hands all the way down. step the feet back, maybe bring the knees down. Actually, we're going to linger in a back bend too. So go ahead and lower all the way down. Come down to the hips, tops of the feet, and we have the hands right under the shoulders. Lower the forehead down. So we're going to change this and add some back strengthening. The forehead down, relax the legs for a moment. The heels go away from each other. Relax the shoulders. And then we'll bring the feet together. Engage the thighs. Begin to lift the head. And then let the hands hover above the mat. As you maybe look forward slightly. Next exhalation, lower down. We'll take 3 sets total. So take a breath here, relax everything. Engage and begin to lift the head, the chest, the hands. And exhale, lower. One more set. Relax everything. Inhale, engage. Exhale, lower. Where you're going to push your way up and come into a child's posture. And breathing deeply there. I will be right back, but you continue. So just child's posture, breathing deep. All right. So a little bit more extension through the spine as you're here. See if you can maybe take the arms forward. And with those arms forward, we'll walk them over to the right. So left hand crosses over the right hand, both of the hands off of the mat. Left sitting bone lowering a little bit more. Straighten the left arm. If it isn't already straight, straighten it up. You might have to lift the chest and the head in order to do that, but you'll get more out of this. And then we'll walk over to the left. Right sitting bone lowers. Again, arms straight. And we'll come to center. Okay, right from here, rise up. Now we're going to see if we can stay seated on the right foot. So roll a little bit to the right and then send the left leg forward and then reposition the right foot so that you're sitting on top of it comfortably enough, right on top of the right heel. And if that doesn't work, if you have too much strain on the knee, then feel free to sit on your bottom with the foot to the inside of the thigh. Remember, if you're really tight in the hamstrings and the calves, sit on a surface. It's going to be better for you to elevate the hips. So your surface could be the heel, or you might have to get something else. So let's see about folding into this. We might start with a bent left leg, but we are going to start with a flexed foot no matter what. Next, inhalation, reach the arms up. On the exhalation, hinge forward and then bring the hands somewhere to the left leg. And again, leg can be bent. We're going to find that forceful breath again. We're going to be cleansing and purifying, detoxifying by finding those breaths where we inhale forcefully and then exhale forcefully and let the trunk go. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Keep going. Usually you've got to kind of let go of the activity in the throat to be here. A little longer. One more inhalation. And then we'll be exhaling and just folding into this leg. And if it's too much to hold the leg, maybe you have to hold up a little further, like the thigh or the calf, or maybe the hands feel better if they just rest on the mat and you can focus. And we could start with a longer spine and then eventually just let ourselves relax into this so that maybe you even round the back a little. Most of the time we say not to round the back, but sometimes it just helps to be able to let go in certain spaces. Now we're here a little longer. Breathe into the sacrum. Come back to your invocation. But let the mind be focused no matter what. Another deep breath. We'll start to walk up. And then we're going to take the left foot out to the left in the same shape as the right leg. So both of the feet are out to the left with the legs bent. We're sitting up tall. And we have now the right heel shifted to the left sitting bone rather than the right. Take the left hand to the right knee, a little twist again. Right hand behind. Get tall. And then exhale, twist to the right. So again, if you can inhale, exhale, pull the pelvic floor up, engage the inner girdle. Both of these have their names in our traditional yoga practice. So we have the Mula Bandha, the root lock, pelvic floor, and then the inner girdle is the Uddiyana Bandha. Turn the head a little bit more to the right. And then we'll come to center. Oh, just for a breath or two, let's fold. Fold right over the knees. So this is good for the hips. You'll notice this is just like a pigeon. And maybe we want to go there for a few breaths actually. So if you're like folded over your legs, your thighs, all you have to do is take your left leg and send it back, and then you're right into a pigeon. And maybe you're a little off-centered off the mat, that's fine. Let's just take 5 deep breaths here as we lower. Now, I think it would be great if we can lift up a little bit and take this right leg out to the right so that now the knee is to the outside. The foot is kind of lined up with the knee. So a half frog, and then we'll just relax into this for just a couple breaths or so. Lowering the head, breathing. And then we'll start to rise up. Now this all started with our sitting on the heel and folding, I think. So we're just going to go right into that by rising up, hands down, sending the left heel underneath the bottom, and then sending the right leg forward. So then situating yourself, or maybe putting those supports under you. Getting close to resting here, so I want to make sure that I remember that there is a time where we have to actually stop the postures. So here we are with the right leg out front, flexing the foot, and then inhaling, reaching the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, bring the hands somewhere to the leg. So now we start with that nice deep breath. So again, inhaling, lifting the trunk. You keep the hands where they are pretty much, and then exhale, lower, collapsing in a bit. Inhaling, exhale. Keep going. A little longer. And then one more inhale, rising, exhale, falling, and relaxing in. Maybe you shift into a straighter back or letting the back go, and kind of go in between and just experiment, explore. Couple more breaths. We're just getting to that point where we're kind of breaking into the next layer of muscles. We're starting to feel a little bit of a release. And now we'll rise. Okay, we'll send that right foot out to the right. So now the right sitting bone is on the left heel is under the right sitting bone. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind. Get tall, turn to the left. Couple deep breaths. And we'll come to center. Here we'll fold over the legs. First time we were here with that right leg just as it is, like this, I know that it tends to be a little bit more challenging that way. So free up the body by taking that right leg behind. Coming into pigeon for a good 5 breaths. All right, let's start to rise. And now we're just going to come to a tall seat with the ankles crossed. We didn't do any strength building with the arms today, really, but I'd like to still, give them a nice stretch. So bring the hands to the thighs and begin to circle the shoulders a little bit. And then roll the other way. And we'll settle the shoulders down and just begin to move the head. Oh, so many. I know you can hear the crackles in my neck so much more than before because of the microphone, but you're just going to move the head side to side a few times. And then up and down a few times. And then drop the chin, but keep the neck somewhat upright so we aren't collapsing in the chest. And then we're just going to take very slow semicircles here, sending the chest over towards one side and then over towards the other. So chin moving like a pendulum. You might pick up the chin just a little bit more to get further into the side of the neck. And then shake the head out, bring the head to center. Cross the one arm, doesn't matter which, in front of the chest. Hook that arm with the opposite, pulling it in towards the chest. Couple deep breaths. Let's switch arms. Maybe some tension in the back of the shoulders here. And I'm finding that with straight right arm for sure, you want to keep it straight. If I move this shoulder, like when we're in thread the needle, sometimes we take the shoulder back. Here you can't really do that. You don't really have much freedom to do it. But if you still move that shoulder a little bit forward and back or side to side, kind of changes the experience. I feel like it's more effective. And then we'll release, take one arm up overhead, bend the arm, fingers to that elbow, where we'll lift the head slightly so that it's a little bit more neutral. Chin parallel to the floor, draw the chin in as we're pressing back into that arm. Feel the underarm open, the tricep open, the chest. Switch arms. I like these longer practices because they really help us get deeper and then cover more of the body and be able to bring a deeper part of our practice in. So now we'll release. And you're going to start to make your way down into Shavasana, but on the way down, you'll see if there's something else that you would like to take. And as you're doing that, I'm going to start playing the crystal bowls to kind of help you come into a deeper state of relaxation. So if you're ready to rest, then you can go there. If you're still working on something, continue that. And little by little, making your way to Shavasana. So allowing the limbs to feel their own weight. So they no longer have to be active. The legs released, the arms released, the toes released, the fingers released. Let your imagination travel through the legs and experience the skeleton, the muscular system, all the little joints, the nerves, the blood vessels, and just let everything there relax. And do the same with the arms. All the tissues relaxing. And then take that same idea to the trunk and let the many, many layers of the physical body in the trunk soften. The skin, the layers and layers of tissues underneath, the nerves, the blood vessels. You have organs in this region, so letting the organs be a part of that. And then taking the same idea to the neck, make sure the neck experiences that, make sure the back gets to release, and make sure that the head also. Layers and layers of tissues, fluids. And just resting as the body continues to do its work for you. But you have nothing to do here. So maybe recognize that as you take one more breath out through the mouth. Om Namah Shivaya, resting. Slowly begin to simply notice where you are. And begin to pay attention to the body again. Begin to articulate the body again, animate it, move it, the fingers, the toes, little by little. And maybe bring the knees in or stretch the arms and legs out like we started our practice. And slowly finding your way up to seated. So what I'd like to do to close our practice today, normally I chant Mangala mantra, but I'm going to leave that and just take the portion that we tend to chant together, which is may all beings be happy, healthy, and free from suffering. I like to think of that, what is free from suffering? May all beings know the truth. And because the truth is what sets us free from suffering. So let yourself feel that. It is linked to the very first thing that we started with, our invocation. So when we know the truth that we are the divine, we are of the divine, and the divine is always in us, and that is the greatest teacher, then we change, we evolve. So we're going to chant Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. We're going to start with Om. So first, bringing your heart and connecting that heart to all beings. Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka 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 Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. bring our palms together. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your time with me and your energy. I honor the light in you that is the same light in me. Namaste.